Welcome back to Perma to Plate. Imagine a beautiful July morning, coffee in hand, feeling good about life in your garden. But then you see it. Your tomato leaves are chewed to lace, ruined by silent visitors in the night. There's a line of aphids crawling up your pepper stems like they own the place, spreading across your harvest. And that squash plant you babied from a tiny seed, something got to it overnight, leaving it withered and broken. For 20 years, I did the same thing. I'd grab a bottle off the shelf, spray everything down, and hope for the best. Maybe it works for a week, but the pests always come back. It feels like a war you're slowly losing. But a few years ago, I visited Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and spent time around the incredible Amish gardens. These folks have been growing food for over 300 years without a single bottle of synthetic pesticide. Not one. Their plants look better than mine. Healthier, fuller, and with barely a nibble on their heavy tomato vines. I had to wonder, what do they know that I've missed for 3 decades? Today, I'll show you exactly how they do it. Stick around, because I'll also share a secret Amish technique for protecting young seedlings that isn't in any book. In Amish communities, there's a guiding principle called Gelassenheit. It is a German word that is hard to translate. The closest meaning is yielding to the natural order, surrendering control, and trusting the balance of nature. Your job as a gardener isn't to override that balance, but to work gracefully within it every single day. When you spray a pesticide, even an organic one, you're forcefully overriding the natural system you built. You're killing the pests, sure, but you're also killing the ladybugs, the lacewings, and the parasitic wasps. These are the creatures that were already working to control those pests for you, and they do it for free. The Amish figured out through generations of observation what modern science is only now beginning to confirm. If you build a garden that supports the whole system, the system eventually learns to manage itself. You don't have to fight nature when you finally allow nature to do the fighting for you. By following this principle, we shift our focus from being pest killers to becoming habitat builders for our food. Let's look at how we apply this step-by-step. Starting with the very foundation, the living soil beneath us. The first thing Amish gardeners understand is that pest control starts in the soil, not on the leaves. Most of us see a bug and treat the plant. But the Amish approach says if your soil is right, your plants handle the pressure. Healthy soil rich in organic matter and microbial life produces plants with much stronger cell walls. These plants also produce higher concentrations of natural defensive compounds. They are literally tougher. Research from Penn State and Cornell confirms that plants in biologically active soil are measurably more resistant to damage. Every spring, spread 2 to 3 inches of well-aged compost across your garden beds and work it in. The Amish use a lot of horse and cow manure composted over winter to create an incredibly diverse microbiome. If you don't have manure, regular homemade or high-quality bag compost works just as well. The key is consistency. Don't just do this once. The Amish build their soil every single year, season after season, without fail. In colder zones 3 to 5, get your compost down 3 to 4 weeks before your last frost to wake up the biology. In warmer zones 7 to 9, you can add compost in late winter to get an even earlier start on the season. After a few years, your plants will be thicker stemmed, darker green, and bounce back from minor feeding much faster. Most gardens are planted in neat, single rows, but to a pest, a long row of one crop is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Amish gardeners mix things up on purpose. They use aromatic herbs to create what we call olfactory confusion. Most pests find their targets by smell. When you surround vegetables with strong herbs, the pests cannot find their host. For every 3 to 4 tomato plants, tuck in 1 basil plant about 8 to 10 inches from the base. Basil repels aphids, whiteflies, and hornworms. Many also believe it improves the flavor of your tomatoes. Between your rows of cabbage, broccoli, or kale, plant dill or cilantro every 12 to 14 inches apart. These herbs repel cabbage moths. When they flower, they also attract beneficial predators like parasitic wasps. Around the borders of your beds, Plant French marigolds. Use the small varieties, not the giant African ones. Marigold roots release a compound that suppresses nematodes, and their scent deters whiteflies and squash bugs. Families pass down their own preferred pairings. The underlying principle is the same. Never plant a crop alone. If you're in a hotter climate like Zone 8 or 9, swap cilantro for summer savory as it handles the heat better. By mixing smells and textures, you turn your garden into a puzzle that pests simply cannot solve. We often spend all our energy trying to kill the bad bugs, and we forget to invite the good ones into our garden. The Amish don't make that mistake. A healthy garden isn't one with no insects. It's one with the right insects. A single ladybug can eat 50 aphids a day. One lacewing larva can consume 200 of them in its short lifetime. Parasitic wasps and ground beetles are your silent allies, patrolling your soil and plants day and night. The simplest way to encourage them is to create an insectary strip, a section dedicated purely to flowers. Use plants like sweet alyssum, yarrow, fennel, and dill. The key is having something blooming all season long. This continuous bloom ensures that your beneficial predators always have a reliable food source to stay. Along a border, plant low-growing alyssum at the front with taller yarrow and fennel toward the back. The Amish also leave small areas a little wild. A patch of clover or a pile of stones for shelter. Perfectly manicured bare soil is a no vacancy sign for the very creatures you want to attract. In zones 4 to 6, you can release ladybugs in spring, but only if your flowering habitat is ready for them. Give your allies a home, and they will patrol your entire garden, keeping the balance for you. This next step feels the most old-fashioned, but that is exactly why it works so well in any garden. Every Amish gardener treats the morning walk as a vital part of their day, just like having breakfast. You aren't just admiring the beauty. You are looking closely, turning over leaves and checking every stem. Most pest damage happens because a small population was allowed to explode unchecked for several days. By carrying a small bucket of soapy water, you catch 2 hornworms a day before they become 20 by Friday. For tomatoes, look for hornworms by spotting their dark droppings on the leaf below as a clear giveaway. On squash plants, flip the leaves to find bronze egg clusters and scrape them off with your thumbnail now. This habit keeps you connected to your garden's rhythms in a way that no chemical spray ever could. If your garden is very large, consider using lightweight floating row covers as a vital physical barrier. These fabrics let light and water through, but keep egg-laying moths and beetles away from your young crops. This daily attention turns potential disasters into minor chores, keeping your harvest safe and thriving. This 5th step is one of my favorites because it's clever. Instead of keeping pests away, we invite them into the wrong address. This is called trap cropping. You plant something the pest likes even more than your main crop on the edges of your garden. Nasturtiums are the classic Amish trap crop. Aphids are wildly attracted to them, far more than to your beans or peppers. Plant nasturtiums in a ring around the outside of your garden or at the ends of your rows, about 6 to 8 inches apart. Once they are loaded with aphids, you can pull the plants or let the ladybugs from your insectary strip come feast. For flea beetles, plant a row of radishes as a trap crop about 2 feet in front of your main eggplant planting. Flea beetles prefer radish leaves and will congregate there first. Sacrifice the radish tops and your eggplants stay clean. Blue Hubbard squash is another traditional trap crop used for generations by Amish and New England gardeners. Planting a few at the corners will draw squash vine borers and cucumber beetles away from your main crops like magnets. The beauty of trap cropping is that it requires no sprays, no products, and no daily labor. You plant it once. The pests do exactly what nature designed them to do. They just do it somewhere you don't mind. For times when you need direct help, the Amish rely on simple homemade deterrent sprays from the kitchen. Chop garlic and hot peppers, steep in water overnight, then add a teaspoon of plain dish soap. This makes plants taste unpleasant to pests. Apply in early morning or evening, avoiding direct midday sun. Now, for that secret Amish technique, Protecting young transplants with a simple cardboard collar. Push a 3-inch section of a cardboard tube 1 inch into the soil around your new seedlings. This creates a physical barrier that stops cutworms from chewing through the stems during the night. It naturally breaks down as the plant grows stronger. I went from losing many plants to almost none. This is the Amish way. Build soil, use companions, invite allies, walk your gardening, use decoys. Work with the science of nature, not against it. Your garden will reward you with true abundance. If this helped you, hit subscribe and join our movement. Let me know your results in the comments.